Hi again, everybody, and welcome to Inside Golf. And we are inside today as we are speaking to you from the beautiful Valley Forge Casino Resort. And we're going to be talking about the recent Masters. One of our guests was there. I'm talking about Tom Karpus, who is the head professional at Kennett Square Golf and Country Club. He'll talk about his recollections of a fantastic 2016 Masters. Harry Mayes from 97.5, The Fanatic, he just had a watch. So did Joe Logan from MyPhilly.com. And your esteemed host, same thing. Wasn't lucky enough to get down to Augusta. But on a scale of 1 to 10, before we really get into the thick of it, right around the horn, how would you rate this year's Masters, Tom Karpus?
I rate it as a 9.
A 9? Boy, you're not an easy marker either. Harry?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd have to go 7.
7.
Yeah, many of the fan favorites either missed the cut or played poorly.
There you go. Joe?
I was thinking 5.
Wow. How about that? Well, I'm glad not everybody's sipping out of the same straw here. We'll be back with Tom, Harry, and Joe. We'll talk Masters 2016 right here on Inside Golf. Inside Golf, presented by Destination Montco Golf. 54 courses, 300,000 yards. Check them out at montcogolf.com. By Jersey Man Magazine, it's a Jersey way of life. And Philly Man Magazine, bringing it to Broad Street. By Golf Performance Institute, GPI, better training, better athletes, better golfers. And by the Philadelphia Section PGA, experts in the game and business of golf. Take time to thank your local PGA golf professional.
I'd be nowhere near the golfer or person that I am today without Cam. We don't hold our thoughts back with each other, and that's why we're able to be so successful.
Jordan brought with him a tremendous desire to achieve, whether it was that first day that we met or every session thereafter.
One of the epic performances.
Accomplishing these lifetime goals, could not have done it without Cam.
The best stories end in thanks. Share your story at ThanksPGAPro.com.
The First Tee teaches you golf, but they also teach you life skills. We learn things you can use everywhere, every day.
Like how to meet people you don't know. I'm Nicholas. It comes in handy on your first day of school.
Or interviewing for a job.
Thank you.
Some of the best golf lessons have very little to do with golf. The life skills young people learn at The First Tee stay with them long after they leave. Visit thefirsttee.org to learn more.
Hi, I'm Janie. Let's play some golf.
Welcome back to Inside Golf. We're here at the beautiful Valley Forge Casino Resort, and we are taking a look back at the recent 2016 Masters at Augusta National. We're here with Tom Karpus, Harry Mayes, and Joe Logan. Tom, you were there, and you rated it a 9 on a scale of 1 to 10. You were there in an official capacity. You were one of the rules officials, and we'll get into specific holes and any rulings that you participated by or about. But tell me, what is the one thing you took away that impressed you the most to give it a 9 on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, I always view the Masters and Augusta, it kicks off the golf season. So when you think of the drama on Sunday, 3 hole-in-ones, and then you think of Augusta National Golf Club, best conditions, just perfect. Firm, fast, challenging, wind, we don't get wind there. You had all the elements, to me, to challenge the best players. And I don't know that anything beats Sunday afternoon. If I was home, I would have been on the couch for 5 hours watching the Masters. That's why it's a...
I'm sure Harry Mayes.
Oh, I was.
Harry Mayes was on the couch. Harry, Rory McIlroy, or excuse me, Jordan Spieth was trying to set some history and win, back-to-back championships. McIlroy was going for the personal Grand Slam. Neither one of those things happened. Is that why you kind of dropped it down a notch or two?
Yeah, that's one of the things. I mean, they were paired together in the final grouping on Saturday, and you're hoping that both of them play well, and you can see a replay of that on Sunday for the actual green jacket. Maybe Rory can exercise some of his demons on the 10th and 11th hole, and that just never transpired. And then you're seeing, Jordan Spieth with one arm in the green jacket after he birdies 4 straight on the front side, make the turn, and all of a sudden he tin cups his way through Amen Corner. And next thing you know, he's putting the jacket on an Englishman named Danny Willett.
Danny, that was an awkward moment too, wasn't
Yes.
it, Joe?
3 times he had to do that.
3? Well,
Yes.
he did it in Butler Cabin for TV.
And then on the 18th,
on the green.
and one other time they said for just TV cameras and it's some other capacity.
And each time his
Torture.
face got, it turned to stone a little bit, right? But I guess you had a feel for Mr. Spieth there.
Well, if he hadn't signed a contract for $25 million with Under Armour, I would probably feel worse for him. But he'll be okay.
Yeah, but what happened? On 12, it was tough. It was almost as tough to watch that as watching Ernie Els on the first hole that he played when he 6-brushed it, and kind of raked it for number 6. But on number 12, we know how 12 is. Tom mentioned the wind conditions, but you would expect him not to dunk it in twice.
Well, that second shot, he had the classic American chili dip laying sod. We've all got that shot. And we've all been.
We haven't won a Masters.
You could tell the moment he hit it, that's fat, and it kerplunked.
Tom, earlier in the tournament, you had been a rules guy on the 12th hole. You weren't there for that little accident.
No, I was there on Friday.
Right. So, but tell us about the drop. There is a designated drop area, but from what I understand from listening to some of the players, it's sort of on a downhill lie, and they don't like the designated drop. So he was free to take it back closer to the tee, and from where he took it was a little bit longer than the shot he had for the designated drop area, right?
Yeah, I'm not so sure what the criteria is for whether you go to the DZ or not, but the DZ is about, I think there's a sprinkler, it's 62 yards. So it's about 65-yard shot. And of course, he decided to go back behind on the line where it last crossed the margin, which took him to the right. But I don't care where you are, when you're going back and you're trying to hit that shot into the green, there's no good angle. It's a very hard shot, especially after you've already hit one in. And, when you think of the depth of the divot, it wasn't like he hit a little behind it. He got real steep, which I think is a symptom of some other things going on with his swing. Blocked it right on 11, made a bogey. You think, I don't know.
Bogey 10 also, yeah.
Yeah, on 10, so he had and even the day before he had some issues kind of closing. So I think it's a symptom of not having a lot of confidence.
Right.
But don't forget Danny Willett. Shot
that's it.
67, plus his caddy had bib 89, the same bib that Nicklaus, his son, wore in 86. A lot of really cool things happening there.
So it was in the cards or in the bib or
He's
something.
a great player, though. He's one of the top European players. He will be a Ryder Cupper. Even if he didn't win, he would have been. So we don't see him a lot because he plays European Tour.
Harry, I was going to say, all of the things we're talking about with Spieth kind of overshadow the win by Danny Willett. He didn't just all of a sudden prop himself up and say, I won this thing. He played his way to a championship. But you know how it is with these majors. People are still talking about Norman's collapse and, Norman a couple times collapsing. Will this go down as the one that Danny Willett won or that Jordan Spieth lost?
Well, I think if you shoot a bogey-free round of 67 on Sunday, it should go down as you winning the tournament. However, when you lose the way Spieth lost in that fashion, putting 2 in the water on 12 and the way the second one went in, we're going to have a hard time forgetting that. But I don't think it compares to 1996 with Greg Norman, who was 3 up through 8, and I believe went bogey, 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 quad, and then quadrupled the 16th hole to lose in incredible fashion to Nick Faldo.
Right. Well, you go back, and I don't think you were back during the Norman collapses at Augusta, but there really were 4 years he could have easily won the tournament. We talk about the collapse to Faldo. That's the most recent. He lost in 2 other playoffs. And then another year, Joe, he came to 18 needing just a par to get into a playoff, and he took a bogey. There's something about Norman and the 18th hole at Augusta that just never went together in history.
True.
Yeah, that's all you can say. That's probably all Norman can say today, right? What is it, Tom, about certain players and certain golf courses that there just doesn't seem to be a mesh.
Think about golf, though. We all have holes at different courses that fit our eye. Certain courses, when you get up in the morning and you're going to play there, you think, wow, this is going to be a great day. Other times, not so much. But look at Spieth for a moment. What he went through on 12, and what did he do? He birdies 13, birdies 15, hits it stiff on 16. To me, that is mentally one of the strongest things that a player can overcome. If he makes the putt on 16, we may be, I mean, and even, but to get back in there, I was one hole mentally, because he hit it in there the year before he won. He doesn't have good visuals there, and golf is so mental. That's the way the game is.
We all know that. It's maybe more mental than physical. All right, we're going to be back. We're not going to just talk about the troubles and travails of Jordan Spieth. We'll talk a little more about Danny Willett and how he celebrated with his buddies after all the ceremonies were officially over. And I'm going to pose to our panel a question. I don't know if you guys have any idea what I'm going to ask you. It has to do with a playoff versus a actual 18 rounds, or maybe an extended playoff like they do at the other majors. Why don't they do that at Augusta? We'll be back with more of Inside Golf in just a moment. Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine, published by former Eagles tight end Ken Dunek, is everything you want in a publication catering to men's interest. Enjoy articles on politics, business, the mob, wine, food, fitness, and travel. Written by the likes of George Anastasia, Bill Lyon, Sam Carchidi, and Mike Kern. Want to grow your business? Ask for information on our Legacy and Chairman Clubs. They meet regularly and can be a valuable tool for your company. Subscriptions are only $20 a year for 6 issues. They're available at JerseyManMagazine.com. Welcome back to Inside Golf. This week we're doing something a little bit special. We have our panel here of Tom Karpis, Harry Mayes, and Joe Logan, and we are talking in retrospect about the recent 2016 Masters. All right, let's move on. Tom, you were there, as I mentioned, in an official capacity, given your position with the PGA of America as, number 2 in rules? Right?
Yeah, vice chairman.
For want of a better term, vice chairman. So you've done it before. I don't know, how many Masters now?
This was my 7th.
7th, so you're a veteran. Any rulings that you had to make this week or last week?
Yeah, on Friday I had 12, so I had 7 rulings on 12. Wind blowing, I had Shane Lowry up in the ivy.
Behind the green?
Most of them were pretty straightforward. I think what you saw, what people talked about was Billy Horschel with his ball on the green.
Well, I was going to bring that up.
Okay.
What hole was that again?
That was on 15.
And he is on the par 5 15th. And he's putting, getting ready to putt for birdie. He had marked his ball, picked it up, placed it back down, removed the mark, getting ready to line up for the putt, and what happens? Take it from there.
Well, the wind blew it in the water. So as I understood it, the officials told me, I guess he chipped it, and I guess the people were yelling, mark it real fast, because it was precariously on the slope. So he marked it. The mistake he made is when he put it back. Now keep in mind that the coin is irrelevant. Whether he left the coin there or picked it up, once he put the ball down, it's in play. So whether his coin was there or not, if the wind moved it, he's got to play it from the new position. But he put his ball down, and then he took forever to hit the putt. He dilly-dallied, lining it up. He should have waited, then put the ball down and got up there and putted right away, because winds were gusting 25 to 30.
So it was probably a gust of wind. It came up.
Exactly.
Blew it into the Rays Creek.
Right into the water. So now
and the ruling is?
It's in the water, so now he's got to go to he's got the drop zone. He actually decided to go back to where he played the previous stroke, because there was no stroke in between. He went back to where he played the last stroke, or he had his option to drop behind the hazard, so it's marked yellow. But very unfortunate, but.
He took 6 on the hole, right?
I think so, yes.
Which, all things considered, probably isn't a bad score
It's not
in that
bad.
situation.
The coolest thing was Louis Oosthuizen, though. That was by far the neatest thing, where
the hole in
16, where his ball I think it was J.B. Holmes. It hits J.B.'s ball and goes in the hole. So what's the ruling there? Well, the ball at rest, J.B.'s ball has to be replaced, and Louis gets to play his as it lies. So 2 rulings, one really good luck, one really bad luck. So.
Yeah. Did you ever see a ricochet hole-in-one?
No, I did not. Absolutely. And it was like
You?
billions.
I mean, what are the odds of something like that happening, Joe? Huh? Like a billion to one?
Louis called that shot.
Yeah, I bet he did. Bank shot, right? But I mean, and then there were 2 other holes in one that same round on that same hole, as Davis Love III had one, and Lowry.
That's right, Shane
from
Lowry.
Ireland.
That's correct.
He had the first. Yeah. I mean, that is a very generous pin placement, but they want it that way, right, Joe? For just the opportunity to have guys make holes in one.
Who's an Oz on Sunday?
Right.
It's a traditional Sunday pin placement. Everything feeds right down to that hole.
And how about the fact that we all remember, in your life shot of Tiger Woods, but Matt Kuchar did the same thing. Was that almost from the same spot?
It really was. It was long left, and he did the same thing. He played it into the hill. The only difference with Kuchar is I think Tiger's ball barely got there.
It stopped.
It seemed to stop, and you could see the Nike logo, and then it went in. Kuchar's went in with some speed, but that's that whole location. I was on 6, so I could hear. There's nothing like the roars on 16. I've never heard anything like it in my life.
How was the course set up in any way different than in the last couple of years? Have they done anything with, for instance, trees or anything down there that is noticeably different from recent Masters?
Not so much. I think the big thing was the fact that they had dry weather. It was firm and fast, just the way you want for a championship. Little rain Wednesday night into Thursday. That's Thursday, probably the scores were okay, but once it dried out, they have sub-air under all the greens. They suck all the moisture out, and then Friday and Saturday, the wind gusting 25 to 30 with firm, fast conditions. Very difficult to control your golf ball. And
the most interesting storyline Saturday night I think for me it was Bernhard Langer being right there, 2 shots off the lead, 58 years old. The last time he won a green jacket, he's won twice, was 1984, and Jordan Spieth wasn't even born. I mean, so many. Can you imagine? Do you think he got any sleep that night?
Probably.
Yeah, okay. Been there before, right? It's been 25 years, but what the heck? But did that strike you as saying, man, that could be better than the Nicklaus story of '86 almost?
Yes, but for some reason I just didn't expect him to win. I didn't expect Jordan Spieth to split the bit either, but I did not think Langer would be able to stay together. But I'll tell you what was very predictable was Smiley Kaufman shooting 81. You don't get in that position. You got to blow it at least once before you can close the deal.
And the other veteran, although he's not in the same age bracket, Harry, as Bernhard Langer, Lee Westwood, who's been sort of off the charts of late. I know he struggled. He went through a divorce and all this and that. But, boy, right there, he chips in on, 15 for Eagle, and he's 1 shot off the lead all of a sudden. He had an amazing tournament.
He always seems to play really well there, and he plays well in a lot of majors, but just doesn't seem to have that ingredient to sort of push it over the line.
Right. What did you see any of the Langer while you were down there? I mean, he's physically fit. He makes Gary Player look like
he's incredible. I mean, that's the thing about the Masters. Even like Westwood has been injured, which is why he hasn't been playing a lot. He's still in position to make the Ryder Cup team. He's really close.
And he's got his buddy as the captain.
So,
right?
But Langer is absolutely amazing. I mean, I know he's still using the long putter, and what he does is he actually anchors it on his practice stroke, and then he moves it slightly away, and he still can make the shots, and he's such a great guy, and I think he's physically fit and mentally very tough.
Yeah.
Plays every week.
Now, I kind of teased in the last segment about this one question. The Masters has a sudden death playoff. It's the only one of the majors it does, because the U.S. Open goes a full 18 the next day. PGA Championship has an expanded playoff of 3 holes, and the Open Championship 4 holes. Should the Masters adopt a similar playoff? Yes or no?
No, I like it the way it is for 2 reasons. Sudden death. because nobody likes a Monday playoff. The U.S. Open does it because it's the national championship. But Monday, all the volunteers are gone, people are back to work. You want resolution that night. And the Masters, and there's also a shootout quality to the back nine on Sunday in the Masters. So I like it just the way it is. You want to resolve it before 60 minutes.
All right, we'll give you 15 seconds.
As much as I'd love to see him play, the full back nine again, I agree with Joe. Sudden death is great. You never know which of those great iconic holes it'll finish on.
Sudden death or expanded?
Keep it the same. There's nothing like the Masters. I agree with both Joe and Harry.
Vive la différence. Thanks to Tom Karpus, Harry Mays, and Joe Logan. Stay with us. More to come on Inside Golf in a moment. The Valley Forge Casino Resort is the region's only full amenity gaming resort, and it's only seconds from the Pennsylvania Turnpike at King of Prussia. It features 600 slots, 50 table games, and there are nearly 500 guest rooms, plus 8 restaurants designed to meet all of your dining needs. So put the beautiful Valley Forge Casino Resort on your destination list. Inside Golf back at GPI in Mount Laurel with Brett Michener, and I know back injuries among golfers is something you are very familiar with.
Absolutely. Back injuries are the #1 reason we lose golfers every year, far and away the top injury in golf. So our place as physical therapists and injecting ourselves in the golf game was something we saw an immediate need for.
What is it about the back and the golf swing that don't always go together?
Well, we have a lot of our amateur golfers out there using parts that aren't supposed to be using, rotating through their lumbar spine, not getting pelvic rotation, not using their lower body appropriately, not using the biggest muscles in their body, and more importantly, not training for the game that they're going to go out and play and try to perform every week.
Now, somebody you've helped over the past few months, Ron here is back doing some exercises. He had some surgery done on his back.
Yes.
And when you first saw him, what were the things that you were thinking could help him?
Well, Ron had a laminectomy and a partial discectomy, which means a little part of that disc, which is similar to a jelly donut sitting on the nerve. They go in surgically, remove that. Laminectomy, they're taking a piece of that vertebral body out called the lamina and opening that space a little bit more for him. So when Ron came to us, very stiff, very sore, not moving well, and very deconditioned, which is typical. You're on the shelf for at least 3 months post-back surgery, and that's just a gross statement. So when Ron came to us, it was really looking at how can we get him more conditioned? How can we start to work in some of the rotational components that are a lot more stress on the lumbar spine? Once you start rotating, we really increase those forces that are on those discs, and especially that surgical site in Ron's case. So for us, he's been with us for the better part of a year, so you're seeing a little higher level activity here and a higher level drill where he's using counter rotation, upper body's going a different direction than the lower body, and also driving that knee. So lower body's going opposite rotation of the upper body. All right, now this one's a step out where we're getting hip external rotation. He's pushing up with that lower body, really getting involved. The higher he lifts that ball, the more core he has to engage in order to hold his balance. So, like I said, higher level activity. This is not something we're going to start out with somebody post-back surgery, but this is the culmination of a year's worth of work on Ron's part.
And here at GPI, you design a program for Ron or somebody in a similar situation with a back injury coming out of back surgery. Knowing how much they love the game of golf, you design a program that is specific to them getting back on the golf course and getting that swing, if not where it was, pretty close to it.
Absolutely. A lot of times post-surgery, we're getting the golfer back better than what they were before, because chances are they weren't doing the things that required the golf swing. Our first step is to evaluate this golfer completely, so we know everything that Ron can and can't do physically. That's the most important piece for us as physical therapists, to understand what the baseline is. Where is this client segueing from a patient really starting out? What are all the physical faults and things that we need to understand and appreciate? And then from there, we build out a custom program that's, Ron has this tight, he has this loose, he can't stabilize his hips when he turns, can't stabilize his pelvis, can't stabilize his shoulder blades as he turns, but has good upper body strength, has good rotational forces. For him, it's a lot more of a stabilization and range of motion program than it is just a pure strength.
Well, there you have it. If you're like Ron, and it sounds like there are a lot of men and women who love the game of golf with some back injuries, he's got the program for you right here at Golf Performance Institute, GPI at Mount Laurel. And we'll see you next week.
In 2008, 13-year-old Lester Bell snuck through the fence of Cedar Crest Golf Course. That's where PGA professional Ira McGraw first met him. But back home, Lester had given up hope for a future. So Ira gave the young man a job, became his friend, and 3 years later, his legal guardian. Today, Lester's still golfing, and he hasn't given up since. The best stories end in thanks. Share your story at ThanksPGAPro.com.
At the First Tee, they're teaching us how to set goals. It doesn't matter how big or small they are.
I want to break 80 someday.
My goal is to go to college.
Someday, I'm going to be the 4th female president of the United States. Maybe 5th.
Some of the best golf lessons have very little to do with golf. The life skills young people learn at the First Tee stay with them long after they leave. Visit thefirsttee.org to learn more.
One of my goals is to get on TV. Check.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Inside Golf. Hope you enjoyed the recollections of Tom Karpus, Harry Mays, and Joe Logan talking about the 2016 Masters. And coming up next week, it's not basketball season, at least in the college ranks. That's over. But one of the more influential guys when it comes to March Madness is Joe Lunardi, Mr. Bracketology. We're going to catch up with Joe at his club, Lanark, and talk about what golf plays in his life and also about a hole-in-one that he had at Lanark. That's coming up next week. I'm Harry Donahue. Remember, no matter how bad it's going for you out there, don't pick up. Make sure your ball doesn't roll off the green and into Rays Creek. We'll see you next time right here on Inside Golf. Inside Golf, presented by Destination Montco Golf. 54 courses, 300,000 yards. Check them out at montcogolf.com. By Jersey Man Magazine, it's a Jersey way of life. And Philly Man Magazine, bringing it to Broad Street. By Golf Performance Institute, GPI, better training, better athletes, better golfers. And by the Philadelphia Section PGA, experts in the game and business of golf. Take time to thank your local PGA golf professional.